why does Argentina play like this? And again, it's one for psychoanalysts, of which Argentina has many. It's famous for them. But I think I would highlight two things there. One is many Argentines, and you see this in their politics, assume that you have a hidden agenda. Because they have often, and they're quite kind of surprised if you don't have, or they don't believe that you can't have, and so they assume that the opposition will employ dirty tricks, right? I think there's also quite a lot of an Italian legacy there. I mean, in the 1960s and the 1970s, Italy used to play rather as Argentina does now. You raise an interesting point that that the kind of the stakes are almost too high. That the sense of needing to avoid failure at all costs. But what I've seen, there's been almost no self-criticism of the team's behaviour, both during the play and after the final whistle and the brawl you referred to. I mean, one somehow doubts that this FIFA will impose any severe sanctions on them, either for the post-match punch-up or for the banner on the Malvinas, the Falklands. I mean, you know, there's a right to freedom of expression. I obviously respect the point of view of many Argentines on the islands, but on the other hand, I think FIFA is right that if you start allowing political expressions, then where do you stop? I think there's no doubt there has been a decline, and it's right that football is even more important, perhaps, in Latin America than it is in Europe, important though it is here. I think, I mean, you can measure that by the fact that in this World Cup and the previous one, only one Latin American team made it to the last 8, whereas before that it was 2. And I think that's probably the best measure of kind of strength in depth, as it were. But I think it really behoves Latin Americans to look hard at their domestic leagues. There's a lot of corruption in the management of football in Latin America. And really, I think the societies should push for better organized and cleaner national leagues, which might help to attract players who nowadays go to Europe to stay at home, particularly if they're paid reasonably well.